Christmas, guys! Welcome to the Zeelicious special Christmas edition. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you my family's famous Christmas Day menu. Growing up as a child, Christmas Day was always a feast where we'd eat and eat and eat and eat till we drop. Well, what I find most interesting is the fact that for as long as I can remember, we usually would eat the same thing on Christmas Day every single year. That was a tradition for us, and I'm going to be replicating what my mama usually would cook for us back then on Christmas Day as children, just to relieve the moment and of course share with the world what we, a Nigerian family, usually would eat on Christmas Day. I'm super duper excited about this episode, so let's get right into it, shall we? I don't know about you all, but growing up as a child, Christmas cooking usually starts a day before Christmas. Our typical Christmas Day menu would be white rice and tomato stew with some chicken and plantains and salad. And then my mom would always make chin chin as well. So the day before Christmas Day, she usually likes to do a lot of the prep work and then cook the chicken. The chicken we usually would use for Christmas Day, for our Christmas Day menu, is the live chicken that we literally she would go to the market, she would buy the live chicken, select the best ones, have them feather it, cut it into tiny bits, and then we bring it back home and then we cook it up. So that's exactly what I did. I didn't buy the chicken from the supermarket. We went to the market to actually buy this live chicken, and we killed it in the market and we brought it back home because that's exactly what my mom would do. And I find that live chicken actually tastes way better than the ones that you buy at the supermarket. So like my mom would do, we would start this whole Christmas cooking menu process by cooking the chicken first. It's a lot of chicken, guys. It's a feast. This is Christmas Day special edition, so we're going to be having a feast here at the studio. So first things first, all of the chicken pieces will go into this very large pot. We were a family of 8 or 9 because my dad was still alive back then. So we're a family of 9, and my mom will literally bring out all those very big, huge pots to cook things up. I think we will kill like 5 or 6 chicken pieces every Christmas celebration, but we just bought 2 this time. So all of the chicken pieces will go into the pot. Every part, the feet, the neck, the wings, the head, everything. Because I remember helping my mom cook this thing in the kitchen, and she would add everything, including this one. This is the head. But of course, we won't eat the head. We just want to ensure that we get a rich stock from all the parts we won't be eating. Quick question, guys. Do you guys eat the feet of your chicken, your live chicken, when you buy it? Let me know in the comment section down below, okay? One thing I also like about getting live chicken is the fact that you'd also get some gizzard pieces in there as well. The gizzard pieces, we usually would save it for my dad. I think it's an Igbo thing. Like when you're cooking live chicken, you usually would save the gizzard part for the most elderly female, right? I don't know, I might be wrong. Next up, one thing I saw my mom do as a child would be adding loads and loads and loads of onions into the chicken whenever she's cooking it. She would blend some, and then she would leave some whole, just diced up like this or cut in strips. But I'm just going to be using the ones that I cut into strips just to season the chicken nicely. Then next up, I'm going to be adding some bay leaves because my mom would always add bay leaves. Remember that I'm cooking this exactly like my mom used to cook it for us growing up as a child. Now we don't observe that tradition anymore because everyone is grown, we're all adults, and we live in different parts of the world. So sometimes it's really difficult to get everyone on Christmas Day at the same time. Next up, she will season this with lots and lots of curry powder. I'm also adding some paprika powder. So my mom didn't used to add paprika, but I'm going to be adding a little because it's actually one of my favorite spices to cook with. I'm also going to be adding some seasoning powder as well to give it some taste. Remember, we're cooking a lot of chicken, so be generous with the seasoning. Then we're going to be adding some fresh pepper, which is atarodo. Everything will go in like so. It's a big pot of chicken, guys. And some garlic as well. My mom never used to skip on the garlic. Garlic was my dad's favorite thing to eat for a lot of health reasons. And so she would always add a lot of garlic to her cooking. And then finally, just some salt, just to help bring out the real taste and help heighten and balance out the flavors of everything else added. And that's pretty much all she would do for seasoning. At this point, what my mom would do is just mix everything up together to combine. Then she would cover the pot and allow the chicken cook in its own juice for about 15 to 20 minutes. Then she would open up the pot. If the chicken still needs more water, she'll go ahead and add more liquid. If not, she doesn't even bother and just lets the chicken cook in its own juice. But if it needs, she adds more, covers the pot and allows the chicken to cook through until it is nice and tender. So the chicken has been cooking nicely for a few minutes now. While it's cooking, I'm just going to get started on the stew so that we'll just multitask and get this thing done really quickly. So I'm going to move the chicken over to another stove top, and then I'll bring in the pot for the stew. Christmas Day cooking usually is a feast. This is when you bring out all of the pots, every single thing that needs to ensure that this food just has or tastes really good at the end of the day. So I'm bringing out the big guns, and I'm going to get started with the stew in this pot. I already have my pepper blend here. In the pepper blend, I have some tatashe tomato. I added some onions and garlic and ginger, which is what my mom usually would add to hers. And I just blended it up to form this very thick puree. That's what makes up the base for the stew. But first of all, I'm going to start by introducing some oil into the pot. I'm using my power oil, of course, because it's my only choice. So we'll start with a drizzle of power oil. We're cooking a lot of stew, so we're going to be using a lot of oil because we really want to fry the oil, the tomato very well. Chicken is steaming nicely. Oil is hot. I'm going to go ahead now and add some onions that I've cut into nice strips. They're fried up for a few minutes, about 2 minutes, just to soften it up slightly. What I'm going to do next is introduce some tomato paste. And what I find that my mom does is that she doesn't cook her Christmas stew with a lot of tomato paste. She cooks it more with a lot of fresh tomato and pepper blend. So I'm just going to be using a little bit of tomato paste and fry this up for a few minutes. When the tomato paste has had some time to fry up in the pot, it's time to introduce the fresh tomato blend. Ooh, guys, this is bringing back a lot of childhood memories. Just gonna stir everything together to combine. Remember, the reason why I added a lot of oil is because I want this tomato to fry up very well. I'm gonna decant the oil later on when it's done, if I find that it's too much. What I'm gonna do now is just go ahead and season this up with some curry powder, some thyme, seasoning powder, paprika powder. Just everything is gonna go. I'm going to be adding some fresh pepper, but you can use the ground chili pepper if that's what you have. Lots and lots of garlic, and then some salt to taste. Pretty much every single thing that you use to season up the chicken. I'm just gonna give this a good stir to combine everything together. Oh, this is looking so good already. Smells divine. So one tip I like to share whenever I am making tomato stew is to add just a tiny bit of palm oil into it. It was actually my mom who taught me this trick. It will literally elevate the taste of the tomato stew. I promise you, try it, okay? So all of that is mixed now. I'm just gonna cover up the pot, allow this to cook up for about 8 to 10 minutes or until the tomato is well and perfectly fried. Guys, my kitchen smells absolutely Christmassy, and it definitely reminds me of my childhood. Like, I'm reliving all them childhood memories right now. I'm gonna take you guys to the next step, which would be frying up the chicken. You guys know that I'm team Fit Farm, right? Like, but my mom would always fry the chicken on Christmas Day. Like, fam. So I'm going to be doing it exactly as she does it, and then we're going to enjoy it, regardless of whether or not it was fried, dunked in oil, okay? So I'm just going to quickly open this up. Ooh, guys, I mean, oh, divine. So I'm just going to quickly just give this a good stir to combine. This chicken is looking so good, guys, like so freaking good. It's nice and soft. It will continue to cook in the oil, and then I'll transfer it into the stew where you would have some time to finish up its cooking process, okay? That's exactly how my mom used to do it. Although she would actually bring out some of the chicken pieces that we can just nibble on when we wanted like extra snack after mealtime. So she will add some to the stew and then she'll just leave some out that we usually would like to enjoy. I prefer it outside the stew, but I'll do both, okay? So at this point, I'm just going to take off the chicken from the stovetop, place it here, then move the tomato stew to this side. It's called multitasking, guys, and Christmas meals or Christmas cooking calls for a lot of multitasking. And then what I'm going to do next is just drizzle a lot of oil in here to fry up the meat. But again, I mean, if you're going to be using my menu for your Christmas Day celebration, and you don't want to fry, you can totally grill this or just enjoy the chicken pieces as is, okay? But frying it takes it up a notch, and I think that Christmas Day meals is just a time. Christmas Day is a time where you literally would let caution, like throw caution to the wind and just enjoy, okay? So I'm putting a lot of power oil in here. I'll allow the oil to get nice and hot. Then we will fry up the chicken pieces. Oil is nice and hot now. What I'm going to do is just grab the chicken pieces one after the other and place them in the oil. Now the stock is a major part of the cooking process. So do not, I repeat, do not throw out the stock. We're going to be adding the stock into the stew, which would also help lend lots and lots of flavor to the stew. So don't throw out the stock, okay? Everything is coming together nicely. I am on a roll with this one. Christmas cooking requires you to bring out your multitasking skills. That's how you get things done really fast. So the chicken is frying now. I'm just going to take this pot off to the side. We still have the stock inside it. Really nice. I'm going to use it for the stew. Then what I'm going to do is move this stew. I have stopped cooking the stew for a bit until the chicken is fully fried, because I'm going to put the chicken inside the stew to continue the cooking process. So I'll move the chicken over to this stove top, then I'll get started on the white rice, okay? My mom's white rice is usually always the basic plain old white rice, and she would always start by boiling up her water first. So I'm just going to start by transferring some water into the pot. Usually I don't boil my water first. I put the rice and the water together. But I'm going to be doing this like my mom taught me, so let's keep it simple, okay? And then she would always add some salt into her water. Here, my salt is over here. Just sprinkle some salt just to get that going. I'll keep a close eye on the chicken, and then afterwards, when the chicken is done, I'll take it out, separate it into two, or divide it into two, put half of it in the stew, and then the remaining half will just be for smacking on things. Guys, I am on a roll with my Christmas Day lunch. Chicken is ready, nicely fried. Plantains, nicely fried and ready as well. Our stew is almost ready. I took it off the heat so that I can give the chicken some time to cook in it. So I'm going to bring it back. The rice is ready. What I'm going to do next is just take away the oil from the heat for a bit. I'm trying to make this as practical as possible, and that's why it's not like a tutorial. I'm just showing you what we usually would eat on Christmas Day, I'll reintroduce the stew back to the heat. Then afterwards, I'll just open it up. Ooh, ooh, ooh. The stew just gave me vibes on vibes. Before I proceed, I want to decant the oil just slightly because I feel like the oil is a lot. And this is exactly what you can do if you are using too much oil to cook and you realize that it's too much. Just decant it like so. Now, after frying the stew, I didn't add any liquid to it. You can see how thick and lush it still is. This is not the consistency that I'm looking for. I want this to be like semi-liquid. So I'm going to introduce the stock. Remember that rich stock? I'm going to just add some of it into the pot. Now, the stock has a lot of oil in it because chicken is so freaking oily. You also want to ensure that you decant the oil from the stock as well before you add it into the stew, okay? Because the stock has thickened up, I'm just going to go ahead now and add some water into this. And then, let's add the water first, just like so. Let me be sure that I've gotten the right consistency. You need to ensure that your tomato is very fried before you introduce the stock or extra water if you'll be adding water to it, okay? Our chicken pieces goes into the stew. Now I'm only adding half of this. Remember, the remaining half we're keeping for smacking on things, okay? So now you guys, do you eat chicken feet? So I'm just gonna add some of the wings, some of the drumsticks. This is enough. We'll just keep this for smacking on later. I'll just mix that together to combine. The pot is overflowing. If your pot is not overflowing, you're doing something absolutely wrong. Just allow this to cook up for another 5 to 8 minutes. While it is cooking, guys, it's time for one of my favorite things to do, which is make the chin chin. Now, remember I said that on Christmas, for our Christmas Day lunch, we usually will start up a day before. So the chin chin is made a day before, but I'm making it today just to show you guys what we do. I already have the dough ready. I have a chin chin recipe on this channel. It's an old video. It's an old video, yeah. I think we shot it many years ago, I think 4 years ago or so. You can check out that recipe. I'm just gonna go ahead right now, roll this out, cut it up into tiny bits, and then we will fry it in some oil. Let's do that right now. We're almost done, guys. The only thing left is the salad, which I'll just assemble together, and boom, our Christmas Day lunch is ready to go. This, my darlings, is the definition of that will lay a table before me in the presence of, this time, my friends and family, because I mean, Christmas is all about celebrating friends and family. And every every second that you spend cooking in the kitchen for your family and friends is certainly worth it. I promise you. Look at this beautiful display here. I mean, anyone that sees this will literally get hungry immediately. And the best way to bond together with family and friends this season is to make a hearty pot of different delicacies and serve it and invite everyone to the table to have a good time. I think I did amazing. I made all of these things in literally less than 2 hours. I replicated my mom's Christmas Day menu. And Mama, I'm sure I did you proud, right? Thank you so much for creating all of those beautiful warm food memories for us growing up as children. Now I can pass this on to my children because I actually really like the idea of making rice and stew and plantain and fried chicken and salad and chin-chin and enjoying it with very cold bottles of drinks. Does that make sense? Was that correct English? I think so. Anyways, it's time to go enjoy this. I hope that I've given you guys an idea. If you have no clue whatsoever what to make for your family this holiday season, I'm giving you the permission to take this menu and go recreate it for your family and friends. Trust me, guys. No one can ever say no to rice and stew and chicken with vegetable salad and chin-chin. Trust me, no one will ever say no, and it's easy peasy simple. Okie dokie, I'll see you guys next time with another episode. Until then, from all of us here at Zeelicious Foods, we're saying Merry Christmas!